The ancient whispers, Dr. Sharma, are not merely echoes of a bygone era. They are blueprints, drawn in the cosmic dust, revealing truths we are only now beginning to quantify. Look to the Nommo, the primordial spirits of the Dogon people of West Africa. They are not simply mythological figures, they embody a profound understanding of creation itself. Their very essence speaks of duality, of existing in multiple states simultaneously, a concept so central to their cosmology. They are amphibian, both of water and land, fluid and solid, form and potential. It's an intriguing parallel, Amari. Our modern quantum superposition theory describes a particle existing in all possible states at once until it is observed. A single electron, for instance, doesn't choose its spin until we measure it. Before that, it's a superposition of both spin-up and spin-down. The mathematics are precise, yet the implications are profoundly counterintuitive, almost mystical. We grapple with the idea that reality isn't fixed until interaction. Indeed, the Nommo, as they descended from the Sirius star system, brought not just knowledge of the universe, but the very fabric of existence, woven from vibration and potential. They were the first word, the primordial sound that contained all subsequent words, all possibilities. Imagine a universe where the seed holds the tree, the forest, and the entire ecosystem within its potential, simultaneously, until the conditions for its unfolding are met. This is the Nommo's nature. But a scientific theory requires empirical evidence, Amari. While the conceptual symmetry is fascinating, the Nommo are part of a belief system, a narrative. Quantum mechanics, for all its strangeness, is built on rigorous experimentation. The double-slit experiment, for example, demonstrates particles behaving as both waves and particles, depending on whether they are observed. How does a myth, however insightful, offer testable predictions? Perhaps the testable prediction lies in the very act of perception, Dr. Sharma. What if the ancient stories are not merely predictions of future scientific discovery, but a description of a reality already known, deeply ingrained in the human consciousness, experienced before the advent of the scientific method constrained our understanding? The Nommo are not just of dual states. They are the dynamic tension, the constant oscillation between them. They are the potential made manifest through the intention of creation, much like consciousness collapses the quantum wave function. The universe sings, a symphony of potential. Each note resonates, holding all harmonies and all silences, until a single listening ear gives it form. The Nommo, they are the breath within that song, the pulse of the unseen, the dance between what is and what could be. They exist in the dreaming space, where all possibilities are equally real until the dream is focused. Lamina, your words always weave such intricate tapestries. You speak of dreaming space, Amari of primordial sound. From a scientific perspective, this focusing of the dream translates to the observer effect. But what defines an observer? Is it just a measuring device, or is there a deeper consciousness involved? As many quantum physicists like John Wheeler have pondered with his concept of the participatory universe, could the Nommo myths be an ancient framework for understanding this very question? The Nommo arrived to organize the chaos, to bring order through language and art, to give shape to the formless. They introduced the 8 primordial ancestors, each embodying a different aspect of the universe, yet all interconnected, all arising from the original Nommo. This speaks to a universe that is not a collection of discrete, separate entities, but an interconnected web, where each part contains the whole, albeit in a nuanced manifestation. The separation is an illusion, a convenience for perception. That sounds remarkably similar to quantum entanglement, where 2 particles become intrinsically linked, sharing the same fate regardless of distance. If one is measured, the other state is instantly known, violating classical notions of locality. It suggests a fundamental interconnectedness at the subatomic level, a non-local reality. Could the Dogon have intuitively grasped such a concept, perhaps through observation of natural phenomena or altered states of consciousness? Intuition, Dr. Sharma, is often the first language of truth. The Nommo stories are not just allegories, they are guides to perceiving this interconnectedness. They teach that the individual is part of the collective, the human is part of the cosmos, and all existence is born from the same primordial duality. The seeds of quantum entanglement, the unified field, are all present in their accounts of creation and the unfolding of reality. They saw the universe as a living, breathing entity, constantly creating and recreating itself through these fluid states. The veil between realities is thin for those who listen. The Nommo understand this fluidity, for they are the keepers of transitions, the guardians of the in-between. They are the mist that hovers between water and sky, the thought that dances between silence and speech. They are the potential of every choice unmade, and the resonance of every choice made. They speak of a universe not of solid things, but of patterns, of vibrations, of information waiting to coalesce. Information. That's a key concept in modern physics too, Lamina. The idea that information is fundamental, perhaps even more so than matter or energy. If the universe is indeed a cosmic computation, as some theories propose, then the Nommo's role as bringers of order and language could be interpreted as the architects of this informational structure. They established the code for reality to manifest. Precisely. The Nommo gave the Dogon their sacred language, Sigi-So, which is not merely a means of communication, but a blueprint for understanding the universe. Each word, each symbol, carries multiple layers of meaning, reflecting the multifaceted nature of reality itself. To speak Sigi-So is to engage with the quantum fabric of existence, to call forth potential into being. It is an act of co-creation, not just description. So, the act of speaking, the act of naming, might be the mythical equivalent of observation in quantum mechanics. By naming, by speaking the world into existence, the Nommo, and by extension, humanity, participate in collapsing the wave function of potential into a tangible reality that's a profound thought, suggesting a much deeper role for consciousness than purely materialistic science has traditionally allowed. It is not just naming, Dr. Sharma, but living in alignment with the underlying patterns. The Nommo teachings emphasize rhythm, dance, and ritual, all forms of conscious interaction that shape the energetic landscape. They understood that every action, every thought, every vibration affects the whole. This is the essence of their wisdom, the understanding that we are not passive observers of a fixed reality, but active participants in its continuous creation. The pulse of existence beats within us, a reflection of the greater cosmic rhythm. The Nommo remind us that we are not separate from the dance, but an integral part of its unfolding. Our thoughts, our intentions, are the subtle currents that guide the potentials, shaping the patterns into form. The universe listens and responds, not to our words alone, but to the resonance of our deepest being. This moves beyond mere analogy, then, and into a convergence of understanding. If the Nommo myths represent an ancient intuitive grasp of a universe of fluid potential, constantly being shaped by interaction and consciousness, then quantum superposition isn't just a baffling phenomenon at the subatomic level. It's a fundamental principle of reality that extends to all scales, perhaps even to how our consciousness influences the world around us. The ancients did not separate science from spirituality, Dr. Sharma. For them, the cosmos was a living entity, infused with intelligence and purpose. The Nommo were not just spirits, they were the embodiment of natural laws, understood through narrative rather than equation. They taught that the universe is constantly in a state of becoming, always pregnant with possibility, awaiting our conscious engagement to bring forth its myriad forms. And our equations, Amari, are merely our modern attempt to capture the rhythm of that becoming, to describe the dance, even if we cannot fully understand the dancer. The beauty of quantum mechanics is that it forces us to confront the limitations of our classical intuition, pushing us towards a more nuanced and interconnected view of reality, one that resonates deeply with the ancient wisdom you describe. The Nommo do not demand belief, but understanding. They invite us to perceive the world as it truly is a dynamic interplay of forces, a constant flow of energy, a field of infinite potential where everything is connected. They teach us that our reality is not fixed, but a tapestry woven moment by our perceptions, our intentions, and our conscious participation. The fabric of reality is not woven with threads of certainty, but with the shimmering strands of probability. The Nommo are the weavers, and we are the hands that give shape to the pattern. To understand them is to understand the fluidity of existence, the power of choice, and the infinite possibilities held within every breath. We are not just witnessing the universe, we are endlessly contributing to its creation. So, in essence, the Nommo myths don't just predict quantum superposition, they offer a lived, experimental framework for understanding its implications. They challenge the very notion of a static, objective reality, presenting instead a dynamic, participatory universe where consciousness is not an emergent property but a fundamental aspect of reality itself. A universe not of either, but of both and, constantly in flux, waiting for us to truly see. To truly see, Dr. Sharma, is to recognize the echoes of the Nommo in the subatomic particles, in the entanglement of distant stars, in the very act of conscious thought that collapses potential into actuality. The ancients, in their wisdom, simply told us the story of the universe before we had the instruments to measure its deepest truths. They mapped the quantum realm in myth, long before we could write its equations. The boundaries we perceive are illusions, constructs of a mind seeking solidity in a sea of flux. The Nommo laugh at our definitions, for they know the ocean is one, even if we name its waves. They remind us that the greatest truths are often found not in separation, but in the harmonious embrace of all possibilities, in the vibrant space where paradox resides. And perhaps, in embracing that paradox, in allowing myth and science to inform each other, we can finally begin to piece together a more complete picture of existence. A picture where the ancient wisdom of the Nommo and the cutting-edge insights of quantum physics are not opposing forces, but two different languages describing the same magnificent, fluid, and endlessly unfolding reality.